should help people. I think that should be, especially those are issues like the Sermon on the Mount should be value systems to people, and we shouldn't rely on the government to meet some of the needs that the church and other organizations could meet. Oftentimes I say I'm a libertarian in that idea, like, leave me alone, government. But we're seeing two polarized groups that can't even have dialogue with each other. And I'm not saying that the left doesn't need to do this either. Maybe that would be a great thing. Maybe the death of political parties for sure, and there be some kind of resurrection that comes forth out of it, that we clearly state who we are and what we believe and what we will not agree with. Somebody said to me the other day, maybe what we need, and they said, God forbid, but it was after September 11 when we turned our attention not to the outer threats, but we were healing on the inside. It'll call to reconciliation and unity happen. And if we just had something like that, isn't it a shame that we're praying for a natural disaster or some kind of attack so that we can draw ourselves together? Are we not adults enough to say, let's put things to bed and let's change and let's talk to each other? I have a friend, hopefully I'll get her on the show, that she's been one of my dearest friends for the last 15 or so years. And she is a, I would say, a lefty, just for lack of a better term. She has some conservative ideologies too, but most of them are liberal ideologies. And she'll tell you those things for sure. But we talk all the time, and we've been talking for 15 years. We disagree on some things. We agree on some things, but at the end of the day, she knows that I have total respect for her ideas and her ideology, and she totally respects mine, because when we both want to understand something about how the other side thinks, we call each other. We do. So I ain't gonna talk to her. And I find myself as a little bit of an anomaly, because I don't find my home on either position or side. I mean, I don't find myself at home at the Democratic table. I don't find myself at home at the Republican table either. It'd be nice to have somewhere to find myself at home, and I think I do, and that's the body of Christ, so we should find ourselves at home. But even in the body of Christ, there's there's ideology, and there are nuanced opinions that can even make us feel divisive. But the question always is, there has to be something for us to rally behind, and we cannot find it if we're being lazy. We have to struggle in our thoughts. But when I was thinking about the Republican Party, it's like maybe something new, maybe something would come out of it that is strong and clear, that says no longer will we allow the radicals to hide themselves in the midst of our party, that we will clearly, specifically denounce them quickly. And maybe the left would do it too. When it comes to some of the radical left and the alt-right groups, even the socialists, that we'll say, this is what we believe, and this is who we are, and this is who we are not. And this is what we will do, and this is what we will put up with, and this is what we will not put up with. What will turn us to that direction? What will make us say, we can't go this way any longer? Really hoping that the events of January the 6th wakes up the church and the whole country. The ideology that we need to understand that we're both susceptible of allowing wolves to become a part of our midst. That we need to wake up. That we need to be watchful. That we need to be wise. That we can't turn the way of foolishness. Or even the ideology of God hating. Psalm chapter 2, verse 3 says, they would say, let us break their bands asunder and cast away the cords from among us. The enemy goes to wear down the saints. Be wise. Take courage, church. Have courage to stand against not only nihilism, but take courage to stand against those that would want to take the ban slowly, that would make the gospel so watered down and that we don't have any values at all. Will we stand up when they try to bully us to do things in which we know would not please God? Will we stand up and say, that is not the way? There is a way given unto man. There's a right way. There's a way that seemeth right. There it is to man, but in its end, that's destruction. What is God's way? Will we have courage to stand and say that's not his way? John Lennon said, he says, I believe in God, but not as one thing, not as an old man in the sky. I believe that what people call God is something in us all. I believe that Jesus and Muhammad or Buddha and the rest are just some translation or just all those things. He says it is just the translation. That he believes in all those things, but he believes that the translation has gone wrong. John Stewart says that religion, it gives people hope in a world that's torn apart by religion. Let us break their bands asunder. The enemy goes to wear down the saints. He knows that his time is short. We have to stand. And in standing, that means that we might have to shout. It might mean that we have to face persecution or hard times, but we have to stand. And it might even be persecution, not just from the outward, but at the inward. Jesus talks about in the last days that mother will turn against daughter and so forth, so forth. In this age in which we could have the easy way out, will it be worth selling our soul? Yeah, it can be easy. Oh, yeah. Shut down our churches. It's okay. We don't want the vaccine. Let's not move. We'll just let them have that. We won't buck ourselves. But what's the value? Yes, granted, we have technology and things that we didn't have 100 years ago. But there's a value in meeting together, fellowshipping together, something that should not be forsaken. It's a value of ours. It's important. Are we willing just to give it up in the name of safety? Or will we stand up and have courage? Are we willing to take the oppression of wisdom? We stand and resist the instinct of letting life become easy. The enemy goes to make war against the saints, to wear down the saints, rather. Conflating two verses, Revelation chapter 12 and Daniel chapter 7. I'll say what Psalms chapter 2 says. It says this about God. He sees the nations raised. He sees the enemy trying to wear down the saints. And he sits, verse 4, he sits in heaven and laughs. The message says, heaven's throne, God breaks out in laughter. He is amused, and then he gets good and angry. Furiously, he will shut them up, the Message Bible says. He sits on his throne in heaven and he laughs. Why is he laughing? Is it a mocking laughing? Is he laughing at what's the laughing? He sits in heaven and he laughs because he knows that he's about to shut the enemy up. He knows as well as the enemy does that the time is short. In just a little while, God will vindicate those who stand with him. In just a little while, those who choose wisdom, he will justify them. In just a little while, those who have soul and stand for what is right, in just a little while, he, verse 9, shall break them with an iron rod and dash them to pieces. Do we believe that? Or do we believe that we have to win? Do we believe what position will we stand in this year? We have to make that a declaration, even a resolution, that we will stand with God, come what may. All right. We'll be back. Thank you for listening. This is Grace Talks. Yep. Grace Talks, just a reminder, we're going to start doing our grace prayers again. This season, I hope to have a lot of guests. I've reached out to a lot of people. Some even that I've never met before. They just have other podcasts on finances and just positivity and so forth, all these people being Christian based and related. Hoping to have them on the show with us as well. And old and new friends. And next week we're going to have our first video Grace Talks and also audio Grace Talks as well. You'll find it on the Grace Talks podcast as well. And so glad to have you guys back with us. And we got new presidents that will be inaugurated next week. I didn't understand it even with Trump, that people would say, or even hope in the beginning that he would fail. I never got that because I'm thinking, well, if he's the president of the United States and he fails, then the country fails. I feel that the same way even with Barack, too. And some of it was racism, but some of it was just partisanism. They just didn't want a Democrat to succeed, vice versa. Now the same thing. I don't care who's in office. And I'm really going to be kept accountable to this because of, it's in audio now, that no matter who it is, I hope they succeed. I hope Joe Biden is able to bring forth the values and even the beauty that this country was founded upon that he will fight to withhold